Here's how you, as a Christian man, can stop seeing women in a lustful way, but instead seeing them in a loving way. My goals in this video is to bring awareness of your inner thoughts. Here comes my first mistake. Expose what's wrong, and it's not my grammar, and give you tools to rewrite what's good the way God designed it. Because why I called it lust to love? Because you can't stop lust. You need to rewire it. You need to renew your mind. You cannot decide to stop thinking about something. Let's say I told you, stop thinking about a purple apple. Just stop it. Don't think about purple apple. Stop it. Don't think. I'm sure you already did a couple of times. But you can redirect your focus if you think about yellow banana, you will not think about purple apple unless I say it. So you direct your focus, you don't stop something. And my goal is to redirect your eyes, your heart, and the way you see women from lust to love. And there's a picture of a lady. I think you never saw anyone explain it this way, and I haven't seen it. If you did, send me a video. I would like to see it and learn from it. So you are supposed to see this lady attractive. Maybe it's not your style, maybe it's not your taste, but it's a sign of a healthy uh, heart for us as men to see women attractive. What is not healthy is when we cross the boundary and we see them more than we should. We imagine things more than we should. When we allow our eyes and our mind and our dreams to wander into things that we shouldn't. So when we sin in our minds first, we don't have to do the action. Jesus said, anyone who looks at a woman with lust has committed adultery in his heart. So everything starts with the mind. If you don't do it in the mind, you will not do it in action. So the question is, what story are you telling yourself about this lady? Let's say you saw her on the street passing by and she looked at you in a flirty way. What story are you telling yourself about this lady that you see? And this could be any time of the day. This is a generic example, so I can explain it and then you can apply it. Do you see her as cute, as sexy, as hot, as desirable? Um, where does your mind go to? What do you imagine yourself doing with her? And if it's something you wouldn't do it in the open, something you wouldn't be comfortable telling your Christian friends, it's probably not right to think about that, about her in that way. That means you already crossed the boundary. But to find her attractive, that is normal. That is a sign of a healthy man. It's the first video and I'm losing my voice. So this is my definition. No one really told me this, but I found that lust is an objectification of the person for the sake of self-focused pleasure. So you're not thinking about the lady as a person, you're thinking about her body as a tool for selfish pleasure or self-focused pleasure. You don't think about consequences, you don't think maybe she wouldn't appreciate that if you thought about her that way. Or maybe you do think about it and you feel bad, and that's why you're watching this video. And I'm going to explain how to rewire your brain. So lust makes you no longer see the person, but the body for pleasure. And since we want to rewire our brains, we want to go from lust to love. And this side is love. I'll move myself up. And I love the quote by C.S. Lewis, the way he describes love. He says, love is not affectionate feeling, but a steady wish for the loved person's ultimate good as far as it can be obtained. So you don't have to feel something towards someone in order to love them, but as your desire is for the ultimate good of the person, that is going towards love. And I would shorten it and make it simpler by saying that love is the desire, and sometimes action. It depends on when you can do certain things or when you cannot. So, love is the desire and action for the good of the person, of the other person, or even of yourself. Uh, so, when you're in lust, things, the story, the points, the hard things that arise when you see this lady, they probably come one of those or something else that's very similar. But if you think of yourself as a man who loved, honored, and wanted good for the woman, would you think what would you think? What would you imagine? And what would you do? And this is the reframe that I want you to think about. What if instead of seeing her as hot, attractive, and someone that you would like to see something more, experience something more for the pleasure, what if you saw her as valuable, as precious? Because she is a person, she is valuable. She is not just a body, she's a person who has a story, who has a heart, has a feelings, and who is valuable in God's eyes. And then also she has quality, uh, character qualities. She might be kind, might be smart, might be gentle, um, or anything else. While you focused on lust, you don't notice these things. And also, one of the most powerful things is when we think of that she is actually loved by someone, she's valued by someone, that if something bad happens to her, someone will be really hurt, will someone will go through a lot of difficulty because someone values her, and that's for sure God and her family. So how can you not think differently about this person? Instead of seeing her in a lustful way, what if you started to see her as valuable, as a person? And how does God see her? This is the reframe that I want you to think. When you see a woman that you naturally, subconsciously, or unconsciously you find attractive, I want you to become aware of those thoughts. Do you think these thoughts? And if you do, my advice is to consciously decide to think about her as valuable, as kind. Think of her as a person, not an object for pleasure. So let the lustful unconscious thoughts be stopped by conscious loving thoughts. And when you think these loving thoughts, lust doesn't have a place anymore. You start to wonder, what's her story? What is she struggling with? What is she um, trying to achieve in life? Maybe she needs an encouragement. Maybe she needs a compliment. Well, compliment could be a little bit crossing boundaries, but in its right time, in its right place, it could be very helpful and life transforming. When you purposefully start to think about the person that you feel attracted to as a man, as a whole, as a person, not just a body, like a butcher would choose, oh, this body part is good for this body part good for this, but you thought of that as a whole of a person. That's where lust starts to stop losing its power. And another quote that I love is by Mark Driscoll. And I took it from the book The Born Again Christian. He said, if God's men did view women as sisters, They would see the naked girls they lust after as beautiful sisters in need of dignity and grieve as if their little sister suddenly became a stripper. And that is the goal, to defeat lust. And we cannot do it by deciding to stop thinking about the purple apple. You cannot stop by, I shouldn't think about lustful things, I shouldn't think about lust. Think about love. Think about her as person, a whole person, not just body parts, not just pleasure, not just selfish things, but about valuable, about her value, about her story, about her needs, about her desires, about who she is. And as you train yourself day by day, every time as you see a person on the street, every time an image pops up on your screen, as you train yourself to think in terms of love, lust will stop having power in your heart like that.